technologies that are coming, pedagogies, techniques. This is all democratization. Why this word? Because what I think is, it's been like a political system. You know, Professor Pant said that in the first session. He mentioned that there are people who control the system, there are bodies, there are systems that are put in place just to make sure that it all runs the way it has to. But what you mean by democratization is a state when everything would be open. You know, when people would not have to depend on these systems, people or bodies that are telling us what curriculums to study, what things to study, what professions to take up, how to study, when to study. Everything is being challenged, and nobody is doing it intentionally. It's just serendipity. It's just evolution taking its course. So, 4 pillars that I would like to talk about, which are connected to what we saw today. First, knowledge, practice, skills, and then the 4th one is the most important one, the ability to learn. So what you do at a school, a college, or a university is gain knowledge. You know, that knowledge is taught you in a certain way. There are bodies who define what kind of things would be taught, what is the curriculum, what is the piece of knowledge that will be delivered in the classroom. Then you go on and you practice it. So there are laboratories, there are practice places, there are other places that are there to show you how it is done, whatever you're being taught in the class. But there's a big disconnect, as we all know. From knowledge to practice, there's a disconnect that's creeped up in the education system. So we really don't study what we should be. And I'll talk about this later in the presentation. Talking about skills, skill is what the ultimate outcome should be. We should all be having some tangible skill after we have gained that knowledge, after we have practiced what we were taught, but it does not happen. What's happening with technologies like 3D printing, with wearable computing, with advanced devices and gadgets coming to the market is an absolute flipping of the classroom. And this flip is not the flip that we generally talk about. This flipping is an entire flip of the whole system. How? Let's look at what the education system's been like. It's quite interesting. So this guy sitting there is just trying to tell all these kids they have to pass an examination and everybody has to climb the tree. An old joke that goes around. But this is how it actually happens. You know, we have kinesthetic learners, we have auditory learners. There are people now, Howard Gardner's theory states that there are 8 intelligences, multiple intelligent people, and then what happens with the mixture of those intelligences all gets unnoticed. What we are trying to do, we are trying to get teachers into the system, train them in a certain way, and expecting that they'll be able to address the need of every single learner. We are not relying on experts of those fields. We are not relying on a quantum physicist to talk about quantum physics when the classroom needs quantum physicists. We are still going to depend on somebody from physics. So I asked this question to one of the principals. You know, you teach biology. Why don't you get this scientist who lives next door to come and give a lecture in your classroom? He can do it much better than the teacher. And no offense to the teacher, but the biologist does it day in and day out. So the teacher said he hasn't done a B.Ed. You know, B.Ed is the prerequisite to be able to enter the classroom. If he has to take classes, he'll have to go through the whole system and he'll have to be a part of the whole mechanism, which he certainly wasn't. So what is really happening here? The whole cycle that was supposed to be knowledge, practice, skill, and then ability to repeat this cycle with little or no help is just not happening. It does happen at certain places, but you know, we would like to see a much better application. So, going forward, when we look at what kind of careers, skills have now come up, we never imagined this. Believe me, education, aside, I think not even people in technology, medicine, or anybody could have actually predicted what's going to happen in the next 10 years. So I was talking to a doctor and he said, you know, this lady just got retired as a dentist in New York, and she said, I did not study X-rays because the machines were not invented, they were not properly there. And she could not imagine that something like this would come 20, 30 years later. So she didn't study all of that. And suddenly the field that she was in, she was practicing something and changed completely, was flipped. And this is what's happening every day. You have careers like opticians, writers, editors, teachers, plumbers, secretary, but then you go ahead and you're talking about UI designers, you're talking about big data analysts, you're talking about 3D printing experts. Did we imagine all of this is going to happen? And if we did not imagine that it is going to happen, how did we actually design systems, educational systems, to teach students about these? So the real need here is to get the right knowledge to the classrooms. And I believe bodies that regulate knowledge are too slow. These are changing faster, the needs are changing faster, the bodies do not understand it. So let's look at the 4 pillars. How is knowledge shifting? Knowledge had a great impact with the open educational resources, internet, technologies like 3D projection of people, which is still happening. I still have places that do it. But let me just talk about the basis of it. So anybody who had content, a story, or you could say it's a book or a curriculum or a methodology, creation tools are there, which has primarily been reading. You know, we did not use video as much as we do now. So we have Khan Academy, we have Coursera, and so many people delivering lectures through videos. And then delivery platforms, they've been classrooms, but now they're going online. Engagement platforms, again, these were missing. We certainly had certain engagement platforms like classrooms again, examinations, but now online, the whole system is taking a turn. So you have things like Coursera, Canvas, FutureLearn, EDX, iTunes U, Udacity. All of these have free content as well as paid content, and they teach you skills that universities are still talking about, whether to include them in the curriculums or not. 3D printing, I saw a course before I came here today. I checked on a course which is being delivered by Coursera. It's a paid course, and I'm sure there are several out there. There are several. But if you talk about including 3D printing into Indian education system right away, training teachers to implement this in the classroom, I'm not sure if too many regulators are here, but if we talk about a process chart to implement that, I think it would not be shorter than 5 years. Probably faster, but it seems like it. So what do we do? Looking at the next pillar, which is practice. This is again being hit in a big way. So these 2 pictures here that I have, on the left, you have a picture of a community incubator. It's called Hatch. And this is a fantastic idea, by the way. I think it would be wonderful to have the 3D printing device that these guys are working on implemented and put in for a community to use, so they could come in, they could design a space. You know, the school could say, okay, I have this laboratory, I have this new room that I've designed free, and now anybody from the community can come in and they can design their own objects. In fact, there could be several people who are working in law, there will be people who are working in medicine, and when all of these people get together, you could have a Hatch Center or a community innovation center where people would be applying for patents. And these could be students, these could be lifelong learners, these could be people like us. You know, we want to do new stuff all the time. The second one is a biotechnology incubator. It's based out of Boston. And these guys open it up for people so that they could come in, they could do their preliminary research, and then they would get connected to biologists in the area. There are several universities around. And these universities donate a bit of time of their experts to the community so that they could learn about how to extract DNA, how could you extract DNA from a hair, how could you DNA fingerprint, several things. What is a genome? And it's not just theory, it's going towards strengthening the pillars. The next thing that is the most important one, what skill do you gain out of this? So let's think about what the world needs. The world needs these skills, like the big data analyst, like the DNA expert, like the 3D printer. These places that we have designed actually surpass the whole traditional education system that was designed to be like a staircase. So you have the primary education, the preschool, the secondary, the post-secondary, you step on it, you go to work, and that's where this infographic says that you gain tangible, valuable skills that will take you to the job market. But it's changed. When the education systems get democratized, you have students coming out of the secondary system and making apps, earning 5 lakh rupees a month. I know a guy living in Delhi who makes about 1 lakh rupees a month selling apps on the Apple iStore. Then you have other students, you know, we were talking about entrepreneurship. There are students starting their own ventures. Because how do you put people into time frames? How do you define that this student and that student is going to take 10 years, 5 years to complete schooling? People are different. Somebody is an elephant, somebody is a tiger, and somebody is an owl. They're all going to learn on a different pace, different skills, different needs. So they will jump up the ladder, they will gain the skill, and they'll go out of the system. If we really have to design something effective, we have to understand the education is getting democratized. Looking at the ability to learn, we come across people doing hangouts and displaying. This is actually not a hangout for a teaching bike frame project, but this is an interview. So here was this employer who thought that, this student has done around 15 courses online. They've been to a couple of summer schools. They've done this, done that. So, basically an autodidact, not himself. So let me just see if this guy can do something. Let's see if he can actually complete the bike project that I've been working on. And this is the real testing. So look at right. You gain knowledge. You didn't have to go to the school because all these online people, the workshops, the summer school, everybody was there to teach you. And then you went to the next stage, you practiced it in the community lab, the schools are open, the universities are ready to donate their spaces. The 3D printing devices are there to teach you in an entirely different way. Wearable computing, what Mr. Manoj Pant showed us, shows us the way where people who are enthusiasts, people like him who are ready to teach. There is no gain attached. They do not want a system to actually say that they're doing something worthwhile. They're just doing it for the love of it. And they're ready to give and share their skills. Then these people could demonstrate their skills in environments like these where the employers are happy and they could actually have some badges, as Professor Pant was talking about. So everything that learning actually encompasses goes out of the whole system. I don't know how far this picture would be, but this is going to happen. I'm not saying everybody would be out of the system, everybody would actually enjoy this democratic environment of education, but this is certainly happening. And I know several people who benefit from it. So all I'm saying is that future is already here. This is an interesting clip, which is just a couple of seconds. People say that you need a real human interaction. You need somebody to be there to show you. The teacher has to be there. So this is a video which is about 3D projection. Somebody's teaching dance and they are sitting in London. The girl that you see on the right is not actually a real girl. This is a 3D projected girl. So this guy is actually trying to learn the movements just standing next to the 3D hologram. And this probably is the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kinar Sachdev. With this